Hello, welcome to the Power of One. My name is Brian Berry and I'm your host. This show is designed to show you that one person can make a difference and that in our community, there are many people who are doing that every single day. So I'm happy to welcome today Anais Dervaes from the Urban Homestead and to allow people to know what you guys are doing and why. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. On behalf of the family members that are home working on this farm, it's our farm box day, so we have our farm box customers coming to pick up. So I'm representing the rest of the family. So
we'll talk a little bit about the farm box in a little while.
Yeah.
But maybe to help people to understand the context in which you live, what was it like growing up in Pasadena for you, and what were some of your experiences?
Well, it was the first time for me living in a big city. I had come, grown up, I was born in New Zealand, but I don't remember it. It was in a very small town there, not even town, just a valley. Population 1, and then my parents moved there and tripled the population. I was born, I quadrupled the population. And then my father, after about a year and a half, came back to Florida where he was from, and I lived on 10 acres in Florida outside of Dade City, San Antonio, so a little 45 minutes north of Tampa. So it's country life, orange groves, we had bees, large garden. So Pasadena was my very first big city, you would say. So and it was beautiful. I mean, I with the arroyo seco and stuff like that. I mean, it was a shock, but you couldn't have a better city shock than living in Pasadena. So I enjoyed growing up here. So there's a lot of things going on.
That's interesting. I guess I never knew that transportation or kind of the movement through those different cultures. And then going from a farm into city life. So that maybe is where you guys started to think about urban farming, right?
Yeah, we just basically brought our country or farming lifestyle with us and just morphed it into a city lifestyle.
So, but why not just move to another country place, out, Missouri or Kansas?
Well, that was the plan. We were only, our family, my father, moved us because we were teenagers then. He was only supposed to be here for 2 years. He was going to school here. So it was only supposed to be 2 years. He would get his degree, and then he'd go find. He actually came out for theology, and he was to become a minister and then go to wherever. So it was supposed to be temporary. So yeah, it wasn't supposed to be 30 years eventually, which it is now. So
2 turned into 30.
2 turned into 30. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about urban farming. Why is it so important to you, and why is it so important to your family?
Yeah. Well, it's important. I joke we have green genes. So our family, the Dervaes family, from my grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, all the way into our ancestors, or our relatives and ancestors from Belgium. They had a nursery in Belgium, so it was all about growing things. And so I was around my grandfather in Florida. He had his place was just full of tropical, because it was in Tampa, right outside the bay, and there was no grass, it was just tropicals and beautiful plants. And then we just grew up around that. My dad took that, growing plants in the nursery, and then he just turned it more into edibles and produce and things that could be useful. So, and as a child, I remember just being a little girl and it's like, please, can I just grow flowers? I needed to grow things, and it's no matter where, we'll probably grow things. So it's a passion for our family, but it is important too. It is important to, try to grow your own food, or if you can't grow your own food, support somebody who is. So, through local farmers markets and things like that. So, and especially this day and age, with food becoming such, it impacts the environment, impacts your health. It has an overall, food impacts a lot of things in your life. And so by, reducing your food print, you're able to,
Food print?
Yeah, food print. Yeah.
I like that. I think your dad said once that growing your own food is a radical act.
Yes, yeah.
And so implying that it's actually a protest, or it's a mechanism by which you can have control over your own destiny.
Yeah, so that's how sort of we went from just gardening in our farming in our backyard to, what people see us today as a model of urban sustainability and urban farming. What it was in 2000, the GMO issue was becoming a hot debate, and we had a garden and we wanted to go down and protest, but what my Dad looked at what we had in our backyard, and he said, well, we could go down and protest and put up signs and say, you know, we're anti-GMO, we want to, you know, have control over our food, where our food comes from. And then he looked on the other spectrum, he's like, well, you know, these other organizations are doing this already, so what are we doing? And he was like, well, we grow our own food, and maybe we can grow more, and that was sort of, so that's became his protest, is like, how can, you know, this was our form of protest by growing our own food. We actually lived the protest. And so we protested, and we said, okay, let's see how much pounds we can produce off this little place, and then we started tallying it, and first year was 2,000 pounds, and we're like, wait, a ton off this little backyard?
Right, that's what I was going to say. How big is it?
So the property is 66 by 132, so it'd be
kind of a normal sized lot.
Pasadena lot, yeah. So if an acre is $1, if you looked at it in terms of an acre equals a $1 bill, what we're growing on in our backyard is 10 cents. So it'd be a tenth of an acre.
Oh, I see. So the outline of a dollar bill,
yeah,
it would just be a little portion of it.
Well, if like in terms of relativity, so if an acre equal $1, you were growing on 10 cents.
Yeah.
We're, in terms of like percentage. So if an acre equals $1, we're going on a tenth. So it would be at 10 cents from an acre.
So what are you up to now?
We actually haven't, or the highest we got was right before the drought. Was I think it was 2010. We stopped counting. Was 7,000 pounds.
7,000 pounds.
Yes. Yeah.
That's incredible.
That is incredible. I mean, we were weighing everything. I mean, everything we picked that actually came into the kitchen, we would weigh it, tally it up. But yeah, that was that. And then the drought hit, and that was about 5 years, and we really haven't picked it up, just tallying everything. But.
Well, that was another topic I wanted to talk to you about, is how has climate change impacted your ability to grow your own food?
Yeah, with gardening and farming, you're on the forefront of you feel things. You say, well, this weather feels different, or this is not normal. So definitely in the last, I'd say maybe 8 years, we noticed a definite global weirding sort of thing. Things are weird. We go in these spikes. It's cool one week, then it bumps up to 100, then it goes back down, and so it's just weird. We're seeing pests we never seen before. Crops. We talked to an old timer who said, he'd been growing tomatoes for 50 years, and he said, I'm not growing tomatoes anymore. It's not worth it. It's just too hard to. And tomatoes are like almost weeds, and he doesn't even want to grow them anymore. He's like, this is ridiculous. So I was like, oh wow. So, and then our friends who have orchards, they're like, well, with the drought and stuff, and then we had no chill, so no chill means no fruit. They're just like, you know what? We're just going to have to just plow under the orchard, and that's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think I have brown pants, not green ones.
Okay.
Because I have a tough time growing most anything. But I do have a small lemon in my backyard tree. It's a mini or a micro or a miniature. And last year I had 13 or a dozen lemons on it. But this year I haven't seen any flowers on it at all. And I was heartbroken because the lemons are actually pretty tasty, but there's nothing on it.
No, it's scary. And I was at a farming conference in early this year, and there were farmers actually saying that the future of farming, especially in California, with the chill hours becoming so weird, they're saying that the chill hours are actually going to go higher, so that they're actually growing. They're going to grow.
What do you mean chill hours?
Chill hours. So you need chill hours to get fruit. So in the wintertime, you need it to go below. Yeah, it has to have
close to freezing.
Close to freezing for fruit to set and things. So the chill hours are our line is, I guess, going up. In the hemisphere. So they said that now they're considering growing avocados like in Bakersfield, and that's because it's not colder and it's not as cold. So the tropical, more Southern California, are like the avocados are moving up. And they said this man said in 2050, he'd say that the stone fruits of the apple orchard, not the apple orchards, but the peach orchards, the nectarines, and all the outlying areas around Los Angeles with the fruit, they said that there probably won't be.
They won't grow here because it doesn't get cold enough. Yeah, and we have a huge apple area up above Yucaipa.
And then the citrus problems with all that, disease that's going around, that imported. There's a leaf disease and all sorts of stuff. So they said the citrus is, is a scary too.
So then as an urban farmer, how do you deal with that? How do you adjust to it?
Yeah, we're adjusting. We're taking out actually some of the things we're looking at, like your lemon. We're like, well, is it worth keeping a lemon? I don't know. You hope maybe next year. Then if the next year, then you're like, I don't know. We're riding the wave. We're evolving with the times, and it's kind of scary. So it's it's seeing what can grow in this changing situation. If it's more natives or more wilder things like weeds. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we don't know. That's the problem. We don't know.
We don't eat weeds.
Well, we do.
Oh, you do?
Yes, no, at the homestead we do. It's gourmet weeds, but it's called gourmet.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe you could twist that a little bit and get some of the
there you go.
high-end restaurants to buy gourmet weeds.
Well, like purslane and dandelions, those are all edible.
How about kale?
Kale, yeah. I mean, kale's good.
But yeah, it tastes pretty good. Anyway, so. I spoke to your dad once a few years ago, and he said, it's not necessarily climate change, and you had a term for it too, but he said it's the volatility, it's the unpredictability, the fact that we never know. And I'll give you an example. What was the temperature at your house on July 6th?
I want to say 120, but I think they said it was like 118, but that was brutal.
So Washington and Lake, they said it was 113, and then official, like out of Anais Airport, was 117.
Yeah, I was saying 118, but that was a horrible
So what does that
day.
do to plants?
It singed some of theirs. I mean, it literally, they just got, we call it tip burn.
Yeah.
But considering the heat, our garden survived because I think it's because of the layering of mulch and the plants protecting each other. But you can see that even like when I ride to work up to the cafe in Montrose, the oaks along were tinged. Even the natural habitat just looked so sad because it was so hot.
Yeah, and I still see signs of that on some of the streets where the trees were just blistered.
Yeah, they were just, it's sad because they're like, oh, we're going to need rain because those poor guys are not going to survive.
So let's go back to, you talked about seeds, and that was a topic that I wanted to touch on today too. So maybe to start off, because I don't think everybody knows, what's GMO mean?
It's a genetically modified organism. So it's basically where they say, like, they'll put fish genes into strawberries because to keep, fish.
So I'm new to all this.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem to make sense.
No, it
Why
doesn't
would
make
you do
sense
that?
because it makes sense to them because what it is strawberries are susceptible to freezing. And so if you got a fish gene that, I forget what fish it is, but doesn't take, that's easy, that can take cold, and they'll take that gene from the fish and they'll put in the strawberry so that it's more apt to go through a freeze and not destroy. Yeah, so that's
it's more durable.
More durable. So. Yeah, so that's what,
So
it's just it's crossing a gene where, people say, well, are you against, hybrids or whatever? No, it's just like if a tomato, kind of, just like grows and it's only becomes something else. That's natural, tomato and tomato. Yeah. But I don't think a fish will ever, hang out with the strawberry anytime soon.
Yeah,
so,
hybrids are completely different activity.
Yes, this is where something where it's, and then they'll do it, what they'll do is they'll also do like corn, they'll put some sort of gene that's resistant, I'm not sure if it's a Roundup gene or whatever, and they'll put it in the corn so that when the bugs eat it, they'll die. And
so devil's advocate, why is that bad? I mean, you want bugs to
that's true.
Not to eat your corn.
Yeah, I think there's not enough research on that. They don't know what it does to our bodies. Like if you ate I don't know, if you thought you were eating strawberry but had a fish gene, I don't know.
I don't really like fish, so
I don't know. There's a lot of debate, so that's why the debate, and it still will go on as a debate. So.
I understood that you guys were protecting seeds because of this GMO issue. Are you still doing that, or how does that work?
We try to grow heritage or heirloom varieties so that.
Well, again, I'm a neophyte. What's an heirloom?
Heirloom. So it's varieties that are just older. So it's because they said there's another thing with $1, and because we gave a lot of PowerPoint presentations, so so like they said our grandparents ate $1 worth of variety. So there was like, I think they said 80 different kinds of apples, and 20
Really?
different kinds of broccoli, but because of monoculture, they just want to have one type of broccoli. So the diversity of different, even in California, you know, maybe an apple grew in Northern California, a different apple grew in Southern California, but no, they're just going to grow one type of apple for the supermarket. So they said our grandparents ate $1 worth in diversity. Now we're only, because of monoculture and just corn, wheat, and soy, just very basic stuff, we're only eating 3 cents worth of diversity.
You said 30 cents, right?
3.
You said 3 cents?
Yes.
From $1 to
yes.
3 cents in 70 years or 80
We've
years?
lost that diversity. So there's a lot of people who are just, they're calling, there's like a lot of seed savers like the Noah's Ark are trying to save these seeds. I mean, there's apples that are purple. People want to save those, and there's different regions that have different, potatoes are different colors and stuff, but we just want to go for the breasted potatoes that are big and white.
Because they think that's the most saleable.
It's the most saleable because that's French fries, that's your French fries, your hash browns.
Yeah.
Nobody wants these little potatoes that are purple, so.
Well, I don't mind.
I don't mind, but they're just going to the,
Yeah, so what is the value of diversity then in plant species?
It's about, it's all about, because if in that monoculture and cropping, if one, like the potato famine in Ireland, if one thing affects it, it affects the whole.
So it gets wiped out.
Right, but if everybody in America is growing that same crop, then guess what happens? But if every region had a different variety, maybe that region, maybe if we had a blight or some sort of thing, and if maybe somebody in the South, that section, they were growing a different type of wheat and it was resistant, then that would be like, oh, that was resistant. But now everybody's kind of growing the same thing. So it's scary. It's just a scary future. It's a scary thought of, well, what something can do, and then it would wipe out a lot of the crop in America because, like I said, they're just growing one type of corn or one type of potato and one type of
yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to sleep well tonight. I've got climate craziness on one hand, and I've got lack of diversity of crops on the other hand.
Yeah, that's what things in movies are made of, right?
And I've got fish guts going into my
or fish genes. I don't know if it's guts, but
into my fruits and vegetables.
Yeah. So just do your research. It's about, we're all consumers, and we just ask people to be conscious consumers of, because we have to consume water, we have to consume resources, but it's just being aware and conscious of what we're doing to the planet, to the animals, and to the people.
So let's talk for a few minutes about the Urban Homestead itself and how it's structured, and then, so this was something I always wondered about. Like, you guys are so good at what you do. You could have just, put a fence around your house and just almost lived off the land.
Yeah.
But it seems like what you want is collaboration and partnership and exchange of ideas, and then relationships that not only enrich what you're doing, but then you enrich what other people are doing. So why do it that way? Why not? Because there's a lot of people in our society who are individualists and independent. They want to just, this is for us and us only.
Yeah.
Why are you so generous?
Well, my dad was a generous person, so, and we grew up in that generous environment of just, what we've been given, we like to share that with others. And so we're not only growing food, but we're growing community too. So it's, and it's like, and to see people when they come to the homestead, it's, their reaction, because I'm always jaded because I live there, and it's, but to see them, I see it every day, and to see them, and it's like, and they felt like they've come home, and it's like a welcoming environment. They forget their worries, they forget, and they just say, so beautiful here, I feel so calm here. I mean, I have so many friends, even just friends come by and say, I had a stressful day, I just need to come here. I just need to just sit in here and just be with you guys. And and it's not a day or a week goes by that we just don't get an email, and not only have we touched people, locally, but I mean, our worldwide presence on the web and internet is, we get emails, your family changed my life, I've been so inspired, and so that just keeps us, it's very humbling, because I think, you go through the day and you work, and then those emails come up and you're like, oh wow, we are touching people, even though, you're going about your daily life, and that's pretty special. And I don't even know how to explain it, but it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, you can really take a deep breath at the end of the day and go, we accomplished something today.
Yeah.
Not very many people can say that.
No, no.
So describe a little bit about what it is you do, and maybe the CSA, but
yeah, so we do a little bit of everything. It's a family farm, so it's we grow a lot of our food there. So we operate a farm box program now. So it's a customized farm box program. So people will log in, our members will log in, they'll customize their boxes, and then they'll come by and pick it up. We collaborate with 2 other farms, so it's like a multi-farm CSA, because we can't grow everything. So we get, you know,
well, especially with the changing
exactly.
climate,
So, but
and
it's nice because it's like we're helping each other. So through our farm box program, you're not only supporting us, but you're supporting 2 other farms, or our local bread lady who lives 2 streets down. She makes her bread. So it's a community supported agriculture food program, and so it's a multi-farm, multi-food artisan CSA, and so we have about 70 families that subscribe now. There is a waiting list. So
and that's all you can manage?
Right now we can only manage because our refrigeration space and manpower, so we're working on that. That's our projects in the works.
But if you could, you would expand? If
we could, we would expand, because like I said, good food, people just love it. And then we give workshops and we teach. And so right now, I just starting my after school farm to table program with the school next door. We'll be starting our sessions on Monday. We have a couple of the Learning Works charter schools come in from Boyle Heights and Pasadena. They'll come in, take a tour. So, and then we give workshops to adults too. So this Sunday I'll have a jam class to make jam. We'll make peach jam, and they'll learn how to make jam and then take the jam home. So.
Are the peaches from your tree?
Peaches are not from our tree, but they're from Gabriel. So he's a little south of us, an hour south of us. So yeah, so we'll be using, I mean, they're really good. Organic and.
Yeah, and just to underscore that educational piece, you know, you're introducing this whole notion of urban farming to kids who possibly have been marginalized, or kids who haven't had similar opportunities. What's been their response?
They love it. I have a great group of kids this year. I can tell they're just so excited, and it just like I'm just like, okay, this is going to be a good school year. So a lot of kids they'll remember. Some of the kids on the farm to table class, because it's an after school farm to table program, they don't have to sign up. They can sign for. I had kids take it 3 years in a row. I have one kid now that's taken it 4 years in a row. And I told him, I was like, no fair. You can't tell the kids the answers because you know all I'm going to teach you. So. And
have you guys followed them or tracked them at all, and to see if they grow any plants themselves?
No, a lot of the kids, they've actually done, from that they've had science projects. So one of the girls, she graduated on, and one of her science projects, she went to outside of CAFO, so Confined Animal Feedlot up in Bakersfield, and she measured the I guess the methane in the air, and then so she did a whole science project on that, just from what she was inspired by something. Then she took that into her science project, and then I don't know where that's going to lead her to, you know, somewhere in college. But I've had kids come back, and they're like, I remember, you know, in second grade coming to your place, and then I'll see them many years later, and they're like, they remember it.
I mean, fun.
They'll remember everything, so that's pretty fun. So
yeah, and so, since you've been doing this for many years, you know, when I was thinking about this the other day, I thought there probably aren't any other urban homesteads around LA County, but maybe because you've taught a lot of kids, do you think there are some other?
There's more now. I mean, there's more people who are farming and or gardening. We've definitely noticed a trend in people wanting to grow their own food. So it's definitely growing. I mean, the people are more aware and stuff like that. So I meet up once a month with some local farmers and food advocates, and they're trying to take, you know, churches and empty lots and try to grow food. So it's definitely, you know, a lot more people are aware and doing something with it. So
for someone starting out, what would be the toughest part of it?
Yeah, well, just know that small steps, because it's this is a 30-year, well, it's still it's been a 30-year journey, and it's ongoing, so it's 30 plus. And so things don't happen overnight. Start small, you know, just grow an herb or two, grow something, you know, but that's, like I said, it's hard, because I've had a friend of mine came up, she said, I'm just started gardening, I can't grow anything. And I was like, oh, it's not you, it's just everybody's having a hard time. She said, oh, that makes me feel better. So yeah,
I'm trying to grow lemons, apparently.
Yeah, so
I was doing pretty well for a couple of years.
Yeah, so. And I said it's hard. I don't even know what to say to people now who are trying, because I said it shouldn't be that hard. You know, before it's like, I was like, oh, grow food, but now with an asterisk. You don't be so, you know, you know, overwhelmed or down because you didn't grow. It's not, maybe not you, just it's not you, you know.
Yeah.
That's the problem. There's a lot of other variables now that are involved in growing food.
We just have a few minutes left today. What would you say is your father's legacy?
Well, for those who don't know, he passed away suddenly 2 years ago. Our family's still growing and evolving, and we're still growing food, and hope to continue to grow food.
Which is amazing that you've continued it.
Yeah, I mean, we love it. I love being around the food. I love cooking the food. It's you know, when my brother was talking about the other day, and I said, yeah, that's about makes sense. When the world doesn't make sense and things you see on TV don't make sense, and you know, just the things don't make sense. He says, what makes sense to me is going out, planting a seed, picking it, and giving it to somebody in a farm box. That makes sense to me, and that's why we continue to do it, because that's the only thing sometimes that makes sense in an unsenseless world. So, and it's fulfilling. It's powerful. Like I said, it's you can do something, and you can provide your food, and then provide the good food to other families. So yeah, we have plans, hopefully, to continue growing, and yeah, just keep looking out and seeing what we're doing on our, follow us and see where we're going. I don't know today might be something, next week. I mean, we have to evolve and adapt, like the plants too. So we're in flow and in motion, and some things will go, and then okay, that's not it, and we'll have to adapt and change and things. So it's like, adapt or die. So
yeah, and that's kind of what I'd like to close with today is what do you think you'd like to do in 3 to 5 years, or where do you see the Urban Homestead?
Well,
because I know you have a lot of dreams.
I like to see, and I think one of the things is just like to see more homesteads, more community. I wish I could do everything, but it's, maybe there's a couple houses on the street. I don't know. Homestead, the Urban Homestead, the number, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. We'll see. Just see that replicated, even on the block would be nice. So, and then see it in people's yards. And I think I said if everybody together, small steps have big impact. So I think we just have to keep doing it, it does make a difference. Even though, like I said, it's hard work. It is hard work. It's a challenge because, like I said, we're dealing with a lot of challenges.
Well, you guys have done a fantastic job. So thank you so much for being here today. And I look forward to seeing more fruit and vegetables from the Urban
you'll have to come by
Homestead.
and see what we got. So yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you.